So today, excuse me, today's topic is going to cover the management via reports. So we're going to talk about how to create a sales report, how to utilize that for data validation. So that way you make sure that all of the data is in there so your automated workflows work properly. Also, we'll cover some other reports like the SOA and the ACA consent forms, being able to pull those and download them in bulk. And we'll go through some other reports as well to show you how you can manage your book of business, but really how to utilize the data and make sure the data is correct within the system. So that way it can be utilized to its fullest. I'm going to cover these topics. I'll stop and ask questions, like see if anybody has any questions on that little micro topic before I move on to the next, but we'll do like a larger Q&A at the end. So let me share my screen. Let me close out of all this other stuff that I was doing. Okay. So the first thing I want to do is focus on a couple of little details. So first, I want to just reiterate, I know we've talked about this on the other sessions, but as we're in a client file, this is the client primary contact information. They'll have a primary coverage type and a primary status, but each of their policies is kind of separate. And the reason is you might have one client who has 6 policies. A bunch of them are active, but other ones are canceled. Or whatever they are, right? So we've got the policy that interacts with the commission structures, and then we've got the person who owns the policy or who pays for the policy. So that's a key differentiation in clients versus client policies or lead versus lead policies. So that will help us in our concept of building a saved report. So I go down to reports on the left-hand side column, and then I can go to saved reports, and I'm going to build a new saved report. A very helpful sales report would be for sales this week. This can be a very motivating kind of report for agents. So what we can do, I'm going to not just make it private, I'm going to make it available for all users. And if I choose this, I can even push it to my dashboard. If it's private, you can't push it to the dashboard. So for this case, I'm going to choose all users. Then I'm going to choose client policies. I'm not going to choose clients because otherwise I'd get a lot of weird data in there. I am interested in the policies. I would also choose lead policies. And then if there are any other policies that you want to as well, if you've got custom record types on your plan, on our AMS plan, we have custom record types. So I can do all of that. Now, if they are in lead policy still and it's an active policy, I probably want to move them into being a client. So this is, again, for data validation. So I'm just going to scroll down here. And the date that I'm going to match against is going to be app submit date. So first day of the week to current day. That does mean that you need to track in your policies the app submit date. So some people just track the effective date, which, you know, if it's during open enrollment, you might be writing the policy on November 7th, but then the effective date isn't until 1/1. The sale happened on November 7th. So that's why we want to track that app submit date. So down here, we're just going to hit next. You can add in other criteria, but I think for this general sales report, that's enough. The groups up here at the top, we have, you know, the ability for you to have group 1, 2, 3, but what does that mean? Basically, this is a way for you to have a bar chart or a pie chart or something of that nature. So that way we can say, I want to see which carriers are going to be the ones that I sell the most of, because that's going to help me. Or if I've got a large team, maybe I want assigned agent to be the number. And then that way I can see how many policies each agent has sold. That can be really impactful. Then the sort order, so I don't need to have additional groups, by the way. You can just have one group. Otherwise, it will be a comparison against assigned agent plus policy coverage type, for example. But here, the sort order, maybe I want to do it by assigned agent so I can see that in a list. So let's do assigned agent is the sort order. I can also do this by last name. That's also frequently a question I get asked. Can I sort by last name? Why, yes, you can. You can sort by last name in this sort order. Now, the total column. This is the calculation of the groups. So how many policies does this assigned agent have? So we'll choose, in this case, number of records. You can also choose commissions, which are the projected commissions, the renewals, which are projected renewals, and premiums, which are the actual premiums or the default premiums that got put in. So I'm going to select number of records. This will make more sense as I show you the bar chart and also the reporting. But then anything that's up here in group one or grouping section does need to be down here in the fields for the report, because this is the returned results. So what fields do we want returned in this report? So anything above has to be below. So assigned agent, I'm going to put that in. And now I'm going to add in more details. So not only do I want the carrier product status, I want to see if they've added the policy number in. And maybe I also want to see the effective date with year, the renewal date with year. What else might I want? Maybe I don't need the city, state, zip, so I can trash can those. Let's see. I also might want to see the policy coverage type, because all of these things are going to really help with your automations. So that's kind of the data validation that you want to go through. Did I do everything right? So that way my workflows can trigger. And then we can reorganize them by dragging and dropping. So here's some of the basic fields that I have is name, status, policy coverage type, carrier product status, policy number, effective date with year, renewal date with year, and assigned agent. Anything else we want, keep on adding. Now let's hit submit. I'm going to search for that now. Sales this week. Hopefully, I guess I've done this before. So if I run that report, I have one sale this week, and it's giving me the data that I have asked it to run, right? Let me go back because that's clearly not the right one. I'm going to delete this one because I see the premium and the members per month. So that's not what I asked it to show. So now I'm going to do sales this week. Great. So now I'm going to run the report. And do you see that total count? See how it was total for Danielle Demo account is 1. So that's the grouping, that group 1 being the assigned agent. So 1 policy was sold by Danielle Demo account. If I run this as a bar chart or a pie chart, we've got Danielle Demo account sold 1. If there were more agents, we would see that as well. Another really nice thing that you have here, not only can you run the report, view it as a pie chart or a bar chart, but you can also set goals. So if you go to this manage goal option, I'm going to click there. I'm going to give it a goal description. So I want to sell 15 apps each week. So my value would be 15 because that's the number of records that I want to hit. The start date would be first day of the week to the last day of the week, and then hit update goal. Now, if I want to view the goal chart, I can see I've only sold 1 policy, so I'm off track. And it's giving me the time frame. It's giving me my projection, and it's giving me my goal. This can also be pushed to the dashboard, and we'll look at that shortly. Now, you might want to adjust this report. You can hit edit report settings at any time to add in more fields that you might want to see or whatever it is. You also have the option to download the CSV file, download all data, which would be not just the field names that we asked for the report to show us, but everything. Email the CSV file of the field names that we asked for the report to show, or email all data, which would be everything. The other really nice thing is you can do a schedule report. This allows you to send an email to yourself at the end of each week or the beginning of the next to schedule that report. So I'm going to add a new report schedule to email it to this person. And if I hit a comma, then I can separate that with a comma and say I want it to go to that person as well. You can add it as many emails as you want. The date would be probably, I want this to come through every Saturday because that's going to be my last sale day of the week. And then I'm going to hit create report schedule. And then every Saturday, I'll have a report in my inbox that says, this is how many sales happened this week. I'm going to go back to the saved reports. Let me show you what other features you can do. Once you've built your report, you've got what do you want to do. You can also generate mailing labels really easily. This, it doesn't matter if you've got address, city, state, zip in there. If you hit generate mailing labels, it will pull through the address, city, state, zip for each of those people. It's just a way to get an easy printout of all of those people in that report. Then we can download files. These are all of the attachments, like the call recordings or the file attachments associated with the people or the policies in that file, in that report. Edit report settings, also copy. This is really helpful. So I built my sales report. Let me go up here. Sales this week. But this time I want to copy that and I'm going to change it to a monthly sales report. So I'm going to copy that. Instead of sales this week, I'm going to say last month's sales. Again, it's going to be for clients, leads, and any other policies. From the app submit date, so we've got to do it from the first day of the previous month to the last day of the previous month. So we're just tweaking the app submit date, that's all. And then I love the setup of all these other things. If you wanted to add something in there, you can do so. So maybe I want to see the app submit date as well because it's from the last month. And now I'm going to hit submit. Now, if I run that report, so last month's sales, I run that report and it gives me last month's sales. So this app submit date was on 1/29. And so again, I've got those totals. I've got all of the things that I've asked for. You'll notice here that you can also call this list with a dial queue if you're on the AMS plan. So that can be really helpful as well. And you can also download any attachments here. What you cannot do on policies is bulk update. So you'll see that select all and bulk update won't work on this. But if it was from a client report, you could bulk update. So that way you can change their status or add a tag or whatever it is that you want to do with them. Any questions on this saved report for sales before I show you how to push it to the dashboard? Okay, so now that I've built my saved reports, I can go to settings, dashboard settings, edit. I can then add to my dashboard report sales this week. And I'm going to put that in as a goal chart, but I'm also going to put it in as an actual list report as well. So I'm going to choose report. And I'm going to put that to full width. So that way I can see it across the whole dashboard. This way, when I look at my goal, here, let me submit that change. I'm going to go to the dashboard. I'm going to scroll down to find my, so here I've got week to date sales report. I've made $150 in commission. I guess that was my other example. Sales this week, I only have one, so I'm off track. So this is the one that we just created. And then I've also got my sales this week report this way so that I can see, great, my agent has put in the policy coverage type, policy status, the policy number, the effective date with year, all of that. So this looks good. But if it didn't look good, you could go in quickly by clicking into the person's name, going into that policy and editing it from there. And then I could add in their policy number if that was missing, for example, or the app submit date of 127. Also note on the dashboard, if we scroll down again, you'll notice that I still only have, oh, here, there's a little refresh icon. That's because it'll only auto generate once per day. The reason is we don't want to eat up your memory on a large report pull. So if you do need it more than once per day that you want to view this, you're going to just hit that little refresh and it will add in that other person. Or it'll add in the new sales this week or the sales from last month or whatever that report is. So anytime you run it from reports, it's always pulling the new information based off of you hitting run. So where it says, what do you want to do? You run that report and it's always going to be the new information. But on the dashboard, you have to hit that little refresh symbol so that it updates it if you've already run it once that day. Any questions on the dashboard? Okay. Then.
No, sorry.
Great. No, it's fine. Totally fine. Okay. So the other reports that I want to just quickly show you, if we go to reports, we also have something called appointment reports. This can be really helpful in tracking the success of your meetings. Now, might not be the most informative in a slow season, but especially as you get back into open enrollment, this can be really helpful. Or if you add another agent to your team, you can see how effective their appointments are. So we can set the appointment date. I don't have many in here, so I'm going to give a large range. And then we can set it to report on each agent or one specific agent. We can also set the outcomes. So I want to see all the people who are no sale made. Now these outcomes are customizable. We do have several as defaults for you. I'm going to show you how to build those outcomes. But when I submit this report, so I'm going to show a detailed report. You can also download or have a quick summary. But here I can see this appointment happened and a sale was made. That's really helpful. Like obviously the record status is missing and a whole bunch of other information, but if the sale was made on that appointment, we need to update that status, right? But this can also show you how successful those meetings are, especially if you're like, oh, how many appointments do I need to do a follow-up on? So client file is updated, but I haven't done a follow-up on them and their status is still pending. So you can have this as a quick way for you to check your appointments from last week, see if there's anything that you need to do on them. The way that you can adjust those appointment outcomes is you go to settings, appointment outcomes. We'll click edit down here. And then I can add an appointment outcome. So I might have pending documents or documents needed. So I'll put that to sort order 4 and hit create. So now I've added that into my appointment outcomes. If I go to reminder categories, this is where I can say, does that category of those appointments need to have an appointment outcome? Because for like a holiday reminder, no, it does not need to show appointment options or outcomes. But for new to Medicare appointment, I absolutely wanted to have an outcome. So why this is helpful is when you're in a task of a person. So let's say I have Brian here and I'm going to create an appointment for him. So he says, oh, let's talk tomorrow about this. So I'm going to create an appointment for Medicare option discussion. I'm going to set that for tomorrow, 3 p.m. with the category of appointment. Maybe that also generates a scope of appointment so he can sign it. Phone call, add task. Now, when I'm in his appointment, so when I call him, I'll open up my task. And as he says, yeah, I definitely want to use you and give me that application. And you can say sale made. Or you can say pending documents, whatever you want to do, right? Usually it's sale made or no sale. That's typically what we see people use this for. But do whatever you want to do and then save that change. Once it's completed, once you've completed that appointment, you'll just hit complete. So that way it gets off of your calendar. Well, off of the reminders, I should say. So now if I rerun that report of appointment report, I will see that that sale was made or that it's pending documents. So the record status is sale made, but we're still pending documents on that outcome. So this is a way for you to use this appointment report to track to see how successful each of your appointments are, but also if there is any outstanding work you need to do with them, that can be helpful. Really, it's if you're managing a team, this can be really impactful for team motivation to see how many sales are converting to, or how many appointments are converting to sales. Or also like how many appointments did it take for them to get to that sale? That can also be really helpful. So that's the appointment report. Any questions on this?
The only thing I have, Danielle, is how many agents, if you had a higher subscription, how many agents could you let use the system?
As many as you want.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, if you'll pay per user on that. So if you add in like a team of 3, then just let us know that and we can help you with that. But even if you are like, oh, I have 770 people that I want to bring on, totally, we would love that. But you're paying per user, and the price varies as you go up in users. Then there's like a discount at like 5 users, for example. Then you pay a little bit
Okay.
more. So yeah, you can have a small team or a large team or be a single user, totally up to you.
Yeah. Okay.
The other reports I just wanted to bring attention to are SOA and ACA report. So for an SOA, a lot of people want to like download all of the SOA files that they did in open enrollment. So you could say, for me, I want the requested date from, when I started my meetings. So maybe the first week of November through 12/15. And then what I can do is say I only want SOA, and I can download the report results if I wanted to. If I just run it, it will just show me the list of all of those people that had SOAs during that period of time. But then if I download that report, it's going to ask me, do you want to include the completed SOA PDF in the download? Also, we have it for ACA. So I can see the status of requested for the user of this user. And then I can set also, do I want to see the consent forms or do I want to see the attestations? So I can do both if I wanted to by leaving it blank. I can run that report. And now I can see all of my consents and also attestations. So here are all my incomplete ones. And then if I needed to, I could just simply click into that person's file and send it to them again, or go into, oh, it brought me right into files, super handy. I scroll down and then I just send them a follow-up there.
Okay.
Okay. So it can be really helpful with getting those completed for you as well.
And where would can you do that one more? So I just go into
Sure.
the ACA report, because I know I've got a bunch of them completed, but I
Mhm.
don't know. And some of these clients, they've been there on the books for years, and they're like dinosaurs. Let's just put it that way. They don't have email, they don't have
Yeah.
anything, and so I just go in. So I'm in reports,
You go to
not
reports and then you go to ACA report.
okay, and then put status. Uh,
Completed to see who has them on file for you.
Will it, can I get, can I see the ones that I have not completed?
Yep.
How do I do that?
Requested.
Okay, even if I didn't request them, will it still show?
No, no, this is just a feature within Radius.
Okay,
So if they are missing an SOA, it won't tell you that because we don't know if they're like an AC, or we don't know if they're like a Medicare client or whatever. So this is really just a feature of the system, which is the generate Medicare forms or generate ACA forms. Um, but at the very least, you can see all the people who have it on file.
yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah. So
And
in that case, you wouldn't put anything other than attestation or consent. So let's put in the consent and then we run that report or we download it. And it gives us the list of all the people who have completed that.
so I just figure out how many down there. Does it give a total?
Um, no, it doesn't give a total, but if you download the report, you can have that be in an Excel spreadsheet and it would give you the total.
Okay, that's probably the best way to do it. That would let me know how
Yeah,
many more we got to do.
yeah, exactly.
I
And
tell you,
then
the dinosaurs, the secret customers, it's
mhm.
hard for me to drive out there anymore.
Well, remember, so this is something David, I know that you didn't attend the earlier session this week where we talked about workflows, but what you could do is create an automated workflow. And I won't go into too much depth in this, but I do want to show you this option since we're on the topic, SOA catch up. You could have a workflow of SOA catch up for all of your clients tagged with needs SOA. So let's pretend it's the tag is review. The tag is needs SOA. We're going to save that workflow. Then we're going to add an action of generate Medicare forms. And I would say after 1 minute, I would definitely say permission to contact is important. And then you can
Mhm.
even say in that message, like, hey, I need to update our system to have your permission to contact. And then you put in phone, MAPD, PDP, whatever you sell, and then save that action. And then you can also do, I need an SOA on file for you as well. And then you do generate Medicare forms. After 1 minute, email. This is all done automatically via email. So if they don't have email, it just won't go out to them. But at the very least, you can track who you've requested and who hasn't done it.
Yeah,
And then plans to be represented. Again, it's going to be like your list there, etc. save that action. And now you would go to your clients and then tag them all with that tag to trigger the automation. And now everybody will be emailed that SOA and permission to contact form immediately or within 1 minute. And then once that's done, we can go to our dashboard and look at the unsigned scope of appointments.
Okay.
With permission to contact. So all of these things are still outstanding. And if they have text and they can get this via text, you can hit text and then it will send them a text message, or you can open it for a signature for them to sign it that way.
Or I noticed you can create a letter in there too if they're real dinosaurs.
You can in the automated workflows, but that's with a third party called Direct Mail Manager.
Yeah.
So it's not as it's not something that is like it has a charge associated with it, is what I'm trying to say.
Well, I mean, to be honest with you, I want to try and I'm going to get into the Facebook advertising
Great.
and that way I'll know they'll have an email and just, the folks that drop off, I'm not going to drive back out. Some of my clients are out there and I do not want to do that anymore.
Yeah. Well, once you do the Facebook ad, I would say join a client work session and we can help you make sure that it's coming through properly into the system. And also that like all of the credentials or all of the details that you're gathering from Facebook can be populated into Radius, like the campaign name, making sure that, you're the assigned agent for all of those and things of that nature. And then you can build a really specific workflow for them as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I want to systematize a bit business and get people underneath me.
Yeah, yeah. And that would be great because if you build out these workflows now as a single user, then as you expand your business and add in those other agents, they'll reap the benefits of that work. And then it's nice and tidy for them.
Yeah,
Yeah. As
I
far as
agree.
reports go, are there any questions that anybody has on reports, either saved reports, appointment reports, SOA, anything else?
I do have a question at the last. It
Yeah.
has nothing to do with this.
Okay.
I had a client call me about a plan I put her in, a long time ago, and I'm like, and I have to go find the summary of benefits off the website, and I don't want to do that anymore. I need to download that summary of benefits that's attached to that particular client. So
Yeah.
I'm assuming I can do that in like files or something.
Yeah. So either if it's specific to the carrier, I would put it in settings, carrier, and then if you edit the carrier itself, put it in documents. So like the schedule of benefits there. But if it's specific to the client, you'll go into clients. You'll find the client. You'll go into files. Then you're going to scroll down. I obviously use this for a lot of examples. You will attach that file. So let's say that this is this, and I'm going to say it's summary of benefits, George Ailman, I think is the person's name that I selected. Then self-service access, upload the file. And that self-service access allows them to get a link if you want to. And
Yeah, that's a good idea. Okay.
they can have this summary of benefits right there for them to download. So
Yeah.
right there. And they can also see their policies. And if you've also enabled prescription and provider entry, they can actually add in their prescriptions and providers right from their self-service portal.
Okay. Yeah.
Lots of ways to automate the system. Probably very overwhelming. So that's why we were splitting this out by topic. But since you brought those things up, I think they're really good things to be aware of.
Well, it's a time saver.
Yeah.
Just like being able to, instead of going to their website and looking for an old summary of benefits.
Yeah.
So I just, you live and learn as you do this business every year.
Yeah. And that's why I like to update it in the carrier documents, Because then, if you upload it here, you can determine, should this be on the agent access section, the lead or the client file, and should it be available in an email? So that way down here is where in the carrier information, I can see anything that's agent access. But on the lead or the clients, if I had that email access, I could put through an email template and then use the attachments like so.
Okay.
If they don't have that product, it will not show as an option for you to attach it. So you won't get confused, like what schedule of benefits is this? I would still like to add it in as like Aetna schedule of benefits 2025. But
Right.
at the very least, when you go through when you are adding it in the email template, it will only show you the files that would be appropriate for that person.
Okay. That's what I'll plan on doing. Well, I got a lot of catching up to do, Danielle.
Yeah. There's a really good training that we did on, was it yesterday, about carrier and policy management. And we go into depth about like adding in the carrier documents and things like that. So you might want to revisit that article.
Now, that's in that link you just gave me.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. All
Right.
right.
Well, have a wonderful day and thanks
I
for
will. I'm gonna go get me some early dinner.